Hi guys, so today we're going to be doing CHING number 26. So I'm just going to start where we left off on CHING number 25, and that was a fossil. This was a red kind of pillbox. I got this at a yard sale. I feel like I paid maybe $2 or $3 for it, and that sold for $19.99. I like Fossil brand. It's just a brand that I like to pick up and resell. Some of it obviously does better than others, and sometimes I end up keeping some of the Fossil items that I find just because it is a brand that I personally really like. I'm putting some lotion on, so if you hear like a farting noise, it's my hand cream. My hands are just really dry. We were over at my dad's house kind of cleaning up again, getting ready for the estate people to come tomorrow, so I'm kind of worn out by that. So if I seem a little like not as like full of energy, that's probably why. Next thing that I have is a Lauren Conrad top. This sold for $9.99. I know I've said in other CHINGs, and I will continue to say, clothing, I like selling clothes, but I also don't like selling clothes. Some clothes just really don't have such a great resale value. So I'm trying to be a little more particular with the clothes that I pick up, but I still have a lot of just kind of like lower end brand clothes that I'm trying to sell. So you might see some of them in here, and they have been in past CHINGs as well. Next was a purse by Bar Harbor was the brand. That sold for $13.99. I actually purchased this on Facebook Marketplace, but the person that was selling it with two other bags, so it was like a lot of purses. One was a vintage Coach bag, which I think I had already sold, and then there was another vintage bag that was with it as well, which I had already sold. So I think this was the last bag from that lot. When I purchased it, I really only wanted it for the two other purses, but this one actually sold as well. I can't remember what I paid for them. I think I paid $20 for the lot of 3 purses. Next was just this, I think it was just an old souvenir from Hershey Park, which is just a theme park in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I'm assuming it was older because I don't know, it was definitely something that like I never really seen before. And I actually have another Hershey Park souvenir that's older of a cat that's a bank, and I got that at a yard sale, but I ended up keeping it. But anyway, this dog sold for $9.99, so not a whole lot, but I do think some souvenir items, you know, can sell. Next, this item went to a subscriber. It was a book. The book was called Omnibus Boners. Boners is like another term, or an older term, I should say, of like jokes kind of thing, like another name for jokes. That's what they called jokes back in the day. Obviously, you know, when you see that word now, you think your mind goes to the gutter and you think of something else. But the neat thing about this book was that it was illustrated by Dr. Seuss, so the illustrations in it were by him, so that was really fun. I actually got this out of a free pile at a Curb Alert, so I didn't pay anything for it. It sold for $39.99. Older books, like vintage books, I don't really look at very often. I just happened to while I was at this Curb Alert because, you know, I had time and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like look stuff up, and I saw that it was selling well, so I'm glad I grabbed that, and I hope that she enjoyed it as well. Next was an Old Navy top. This sold for $9.99. You know, Old Navy is just kind of like a brand you see everywhere type of thing. So with clothing, and I feel like I always say in my CHINGs, like if I'm not really paying anything for it, or I'm not paying much for it, I don't really mind selling it for, you know, I mean, I'll sell something I got for free from like a Curb Alert for $9.99, like every day if I could. So it's not so bad, but it's not something I'd actually like go to the thrift store and, you know, search for and buy for like $4 and then try to sell it for only $9 kind of thing. Next was a wooden box. It was specifically made for playing cards, and there was a an older deck of playing cards in it. There were these what are they called? The suits. The suits of the deck were kind of like engraved on the top of the box. This came from a box that I had won at the auction. So that sold for $15.99, which was pretty nice. Next was a pair of Ralph Lauren PJ pants. They sold for $19.99, just pajama pants. I think these might have come from a Curb Alert as well, because I don't think I paid anything for them. Next was just a little piece of Victoria's Secret lingerie that sold for $12.99. I think this originally came from the thrift store possibly, or a yard sale, but I had it in my drawer for a while, but I never wore it. So I ended up selling that. Next was a lot of 2 decks of vintage Whitman kids card game type thing. They sold for $15.99. These are like really cheap pickups to find at yard sales and stuff like that for like quarter, 10 cents, that type of thing. A lot of people not only maybe wanted to buy them to play, but also use those cards for like different crafting purposes and journaling and that type of thing. So when you're selling something like that, definitely try to think of other keywords such as crafting, just to kind of open up the door to other people who might be interested in purchasing it for that aspect and not just using to play the game. Next was a tube of Beyond the Zone hair gel. This sold for $19.99. You guys know I like picking up just beauty products. This was still sealed. And yeah, I don't know, I think $19.99 was a good price to sell that for, considering. So I don't know if that's an item that maybe isn't sold anymore, I'm not sure, but I went by a sold. That's how I came up with that amount to list it at, because I saw one sell for the same amount. Next was a Spy vs. Spy mug. This came from the International Spy Museum. That's not where I bought it. I bought it at a yard sale, and I think I paid $1 or $2 for it at a yard sale, and it sold for $29.99. I originally got it to give to Eric because Spy vs. Spy was an older video game, and I remember, like, I think I had it too, for Nintendo NES. So yeah, I bought it for him, but he ended up not necessarily wanting it, so I did sell that. Next item also went to a subscriber. This was a Miami Heat hat that sold for $10.99, and I think that came from a Fill-A-Bag rummage sale, I'm pretty sure. And one other thing that I forgot to mention before I started this video, this cha-ching, a lot of the stuff that's mentioned in this cha-ching, and you will see a lot of stuff that was purchased from you guys, from subscribers. This was the week of my father's passing, and like, I did have a GoFundMe page up, and you know, a lot of you guys decided to help out by purchasing something from me, so I just want to thank you again for purchasing items from me, and obviously also for any kind of donations to the GoFundMe and just your comments and your letters and everything. I cannot reiterate enough like how appreciative I was for all of that. So you will see as I go through the ones that I know are from subscribers, and there might be some things that I sold that might have also been purchased by subscribers, but you know, I wasn't like, typically I know because you guys will leave a little note when you check out to like let me know that you're a subscriber, but I know not everyone does that, but still is a subscriber. So yes, next item we have is a really large Williams-Sonoma serving bowl. I got this at a yard sale. I paid $5 for it and it sold for $29.99. I will say I've definitely gotten over being hesitant about selling breakables and selling bigger items. Those types of things I used to just steer clear of when I was selling on eBay. I was just always afraid of things breaking, and like higher shipping costs kind of just turned me off type of thing. But I'm so glad that I got over those fears and I started incorporating those types of things into my store. There are still times when I go to buy something and that runs through my head like, oh my gosh, this is going to be such a pain to ship, or you know, that kind of thing. So there are still times when I'm a little bit hesitant about purchasing those types of things, but other times I'm like, I can do that, no problem. So that was one of those instances. It was a very large bowl, obviously breakable, but I'm like, we're all right, we'll do okay. Next was a pair of Levi's jeans that sold for $16.99. These actually had originally belonged to my mom, and yeah, I still have a lot of her clothes and things that I need to just sell or donate essentially, because I can't keep everything. It's just humanly impossible. Next was a vintage scrapbook. I got this at an estate sale. It was filled with just old greeting cards and that type of thing. That actually went to a subscriber as well, and it sold for $25.99, and I think I paid between $3 and $5 for it at the estate sale. I can't remember exactly, but no more than $5. A Lucy and Laurel tank top that sold for $9.99. Pretty sure that came from a fill-a-bag rummage sale as well. When I go to fill-a-bag rummage sales, like when you pay a set price for the bag, I try to stuff that baby full. So thin, like, items that I can stuff in, like tank tops and things like that, I tend to do, because it's just extra money, you know what I mean? Granted, it was only $9.99, but still, I'll stuff it in my bag. Next was a set of Colorcraft salt and pepper shakers. These were vintage. I got them at a churchyard sale, and I want to say maybe I paid $1 for them. I can't remember what I was charged for them, but they sold for $21.50. So it's definitely something like if I would see again at a cheaper price, I would pick up. The tops of them were also Bakelite. They were pretty cool. They were like aluminum, very pretty. Next was a bottle of TIGI shampoo that sold for $37.99. I'm not quite sure where that came from. I feel like I got it at a yard sale, but I can't remember. So I probably paid like $1 for it. And that was like a huge bottle. It had like a pump and everything. So like something you get at like a salon, basically. Next was a pair of 9 West flats that sold for $24.99. These actually belong to me. I got them at TJ Maxx, and I just never really wore them very often, so I ended up selling them. So I did pay full price for them originally. Well, TJ Maxx full price. So I can't remember exactly what that was. Next was a vintage set of Disney Tommy Tippy bibs. These sold for $7.99. I got those at Goodwill, and I believe I paid 99 cents for them. So not a whole lot there, but they were vintage Disney, so I just decided to pick them up. Next was a pair of Wrangler jeans that sold for $19.99. So these were older. They came from that sale where I purchased a bunch of vintage Western wear clothing. I still, I mean, I have some of that stuff listed, but I still have stuff that I have not yet listed from that sale. Next was just an ULTA makeup compact that sold for $9.99, and that just came out of my personal collection. Next was a Jimmy Spencer hat that sold for $19.99, and I got that at a yard sale for $1. I think I got 3 of the same hats at a yard sale, or maybe it was just 2. I can't remember now, but and I don't know if this is the first one that I'm showing or not, but I have sold out of all of those hats. So that was a good score, I think. Next was a vintage Japan Santa knee hugger shelf sitter. That came from the barn sale, so I definitely didn't pay more than $1 for it. And that sold for $19.99. This Moo Cow pitcher sold for $14.50. I actually found this while cleaning out stuff at my parents' house. I just thought it was so freaking cute. I don't know originally like where my mom got it, probably at a yard sale. But I was surprised, like when I looked them up, some of them seemed to be selling okay. Next was a Susan Graver top that sold for $19.99. Got that at a yard sale, and I think I paid $2 for it, $2 or $3. It was really, really pretty. I really liked the print of it. I think when I bought it, I was kind of thinking I might keep it for myself, but I didn't like how it looked on me, so I ended up selling it. And I like picking up stuff by Susan Graver. I think there's also another item by that brand that I sold in this CHING. I think it was originally sold on QVC, or still is sold on QVC. Oh, this next thing was that creepy ceramic Ronald McDonald figure. I don't know if you guys will remember me picking this up at a yard sale where there was just a bunch of old like clowns, just clown knickknacks, and this lady was trying to sell them like as a whole lot because she just wanted rid of them, but they were like $0.25 a piece if you buy them separately. So I just grabbed this Ronald McDonald because it was weird, and it was only $0.25, and he sold for $15.99. So I always say weird sells, and that seems to be pretty truthful. And I like weird stuff, so anything that like I like that's weird, I'm pretty confident in reselling it, that like someone else will find it equally weird and want it. Next was a men's Dockers vest that sold for $9.99, and I'm pretty sure that came from a Curve Alert as well. A pair of True Religion jeans that sold for $26.99. I'm not quite sure where I purchased these. I probably had them for a little while. True Religion is a good brand though, if you happen to come across them. Next item was a men's Fendi cologne that sold for $49.99. Probably picked that up at a yard sale. Actually, yes, I did, and I gave it to my dad because it was at his house when I found it. I can't remember what I paid for it. I would say maybe $5 because it was like new when I purchased it. And then he never really used it. I don't think he really cared for the fragrance. So next was another Lauren Conrad clothing item. This one was a tank top that sold for $15.99. So a little more than the other top that I had sold. It might have been too because this one was a little bit larger of a size. I sold a Talbot's skirt for $9.99, and I think that came from a fill-a-bag rummage sale as well. Next item was a Bath & Body Works Japanese Cherry Blossom perfume that sold for $49.99. And I got this at a yard sale, and I'm pretty sure I paid $1 for it. Maybe $2. But no more than $3. Sometimes it's hard for me to remember what I paid for stuff if I've had it for a little while. The next 2 items went to a subscriber. These went to the same person. These were both the same perfume by Bulgari. One of them was a larger perfume that sold for $39.99. And then the second one was the same scent, but it was a smaller perfume, like purse size. And that one sold for $19.99. And I got those both at a yard sale for $1 a piece. Next was a pack of vintage Izzy cat stickers. I think I got these at Goodwill for 99 cents, and they sold for $15.99. People love stickers. I love stickers, so if you ever find like vintage stickers that are still sealed, there is collectors out there for vintage stickers, so definitely if you find any, look them up. I also know that the if you remember the old scratch and sniff stickers from back in the day, who were they made by? Mellow Smello. Some of them can sell really well. Next was a Minecraft mask. This thing was huge. It was made of cardboard. That sold for $35.99, and I didn't pay anything for that. You guys know I don't actively go dumpster diving. I got this quite a few years ago from a Spirit Halloween dumpster, so I didn't pay anything for it. I got it out of the dumpster, but it was brand new, still sealed. Next, this item also went to a subscriber. It was a vintage sweater made by a company called Ariel that sold for $39.99. These vintage sweaters, especially ones that are pastel in color, can do really well. I feel like it's hard to find them, but if you ever do come across them, definitely pick them up. Next item was a beauty palette by a company called Ready to Wear that sold for $14.99. And again, that came from my own personal collection. You guys would be so, I'm so embarrassed like at the amount of like beauty related items that I have in my collection. It's kind of insane, and I'm trying to get rid of stuff, but you know how it is when you have collections. Sometimes it's hard. Next was a Nike sweatshirt that sold for $29. This came from my parents' house. It had, I think, belonged to my father, or maybe my mom wore it. I don't really remember. They had so many clothes. Next was an Under Armour hat that sold for $12.99, and I think that came from a Fill-A-Bag rummage sale. A Wonder Whims. This is a vintage plush animal. This sold for $59.99. I got this at a Goodwill, not in my area. I can't remember what town I was in. I was somewhere in Maryland, and I can't remember what town it was, but we were down there, I think, for a yard sale at one point, and we just hit up their Goodwill since it was close by. So I think I paid $1.99 for that plush. I probably could have got more if it had its pet. The Wonder Whims, when you would buy them, they came with a pet as well. And I was searching the store trying to see if I could find the pet, but I did not see it. I actually found a Wonder Whims still brand new in the box at a thrift store years ago, and I haven't sold it yet. I haven't sold it yet because it's so cute. I used to have one, not the one that I have and not the one that I sold. Mine was completely different. But I loved them, and I just haven't sold the one that I have. but I need to get that listed because I could probably get a decent amount for it, especially since it's new in the box. Next was a Precious Moments figure. This sold for $12.99. Eric picked this up, and I feel like we definitely didn't pay more than $1 for it at a yard sale. So I've said before, some Precious Moments stuff does sell. Not all of it for like an amazing amount, but it's definitely something, if you come across it, just take a moment to look it up and make sure it's not something that, you know, is worth more. Because something like that, like if you're getting it for like a quarter, to sell it for $12.99, that's not bad. Next was a Hot Tools hairdryer that sold for $19.99, and I think that also came from my parents' house as well. I believe my mom used it. Let's see, a pair of Steve Madden shoes that sold for $15.99. Eric purchased these, I believe, at Community Aid. A lot of Bath & Body Works Sensual Amber. It came with like a lotion and a shimmer hair mist. And I don't even remember everything that was in that lot now. But that sold for $25.99, and I think I paid $3 for the lot. And here is a story about that. Because things happen, even though like I've been reselling for years and years, like I still make mistakes sometimes. We're only human and things happen. And when this was being shipped out, I think I was laying stuff out for Eric, and he was shipping the stuff, and I forgot to lay a piece to that lot with everything else, and he didn't really like double check the auction, so we shipped out everything but one piece, and so I had to go back and ship the item to the person who purchased it, you know, and pay for the shipping to do so because of my error. So you can't get down on yourself for stuff like that. You just have to like hope that the other person is understanding and, you know, realize that you did not mean to do that, because I don't know how long it would have been for me to catch that until I was like, you know, looking through like my inventory and stuff like that. So I'm just thankful that like they called it and like let me know so I could get it out to them right away. So I felt horrible about it. Okay, so this was the next Susan Graver item. This was like a long kind of tunic that sold for $17.99. Can't remember where that came from. I'm sure a yard sale, but maybe the thrift store. A Lisa Frank lunchbox sold for $39.99. This wasn't even vintage Lisa Frank. So even if you find Lisa Frank and it's not vintage, I would still look it up just to make sure. I think I paid $2 or $3 for the lunchbox, so I didn't pay much, and it still sold really well. And the last thing that I have is a rooster candy type dish that Eric got at the auction. He won that at the auction, and I can't remember now what he paid for it, but I'm sure it wasn't a whole lot. And that sold for $29.99. So that is everything for this cha-ching. I apologize if I'm not like extra perky or anything like that. I'm really exhausted from being over there and cleaning up and everything like that. So I'm hoping tomorrow everything goes good with the estate people, because this is, you know, not something I've ever had to deal with before. So everything's kind of like new to me, and I just don't really know like what to expect type of thing, because I know they're gonna want to know like what I want to keep and what I want to sell and that type of thing. And in all honesty, there's not much that I'm planning on keeping. I mean, I already took like all of like the pictures and stuff like that. But as far as furniture and stuff goes, there's only like a couple pieces that really mean a whole lot to me. The rest, you know, I'm fine with parting with. I can't, like I said, keep everything. So it's been tough having to go through everything though, and trying to make those decisions of what to hang on to and what not to, and hoping that you don't regret not keeping something. So I've just been kind of struggling slightly with those kinds of decisions. But that's everything for this cha-ching. I hope you guys liked it. Until next time, we will be on cha-ching number 27. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.